I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm the Kyuujin cosplay, and today we are back again with you guys with Level 0, episode 11.
So what happened last episode?
Well, we kind of learned that we can somehow control the clones, basically.
Ryuzu has a lot of clones that Echidna created because she was looking for a way to transfer her soul into an empty body as a way to become immortal. And
she didn't succeed.
No, it didn't work, but now we have a bunch of Ryuzus and they have to listen to Subaru because he's got the Witch of Greed's favor or something. So because she made him
got a part of her body,
yeah. Because he drank a part of her, basically. Now they have to answer to whatever he says. So that's pretty cool. Aside from that, Subaru is just taking charge, you know. He's decided that he's gonna go back to the manor. He's got 4 days to deal with all the shit, and he's gonna die as many times as necessary, but he's gonna learn every time, every little thing that happens, so he can be better prepared to face everyone when the actual showdown happens. So now we're facing Beatrice, and hopefully we get some answers out of her.
We need to have answers, please.
Well, we need to talk about some stuff, so...
Are you an enemy or a friend?
Well, I don't think she is an enemy. She wasn't an enemy. She wasn't following the gospel as we thought, so... But there's still some stuff that she needs to talk about, and she needs to ask the questions, so... Let's jump in this episode and see what happens.
Alright,
let's go. Creepy! Creepy as fuck.
There's so many stuff that we need to discuss about. The first one will be Beatrice.
Yes.
Because in a way, both of them are so similar but so different. Because technically, she can't die. She was immortal because she was alive.
She's a spirit.
She's a spirit, yeah.
And she was forced to stay alone in that fucking library to fulfill a goal that she really doesn't know about, because ever since Echidna died, the book has been empty, you know, and she has done everything according to that book. So that would explain why she keeps saying, like, not I guess, but I suppose and stuff like that, because she's so unsure of what she's supposed to do that she distances herself. She has no care for anything, and she doesn't feel certain about any of her actions. So that's a very lonely existence that has no purpose. And yes, I do understand why after so many years she feels like this. You say she kind of looks like Subaru in a way. Maybe Subaru, after like 400 years of this, would end up the same. Right now, where we have a Subaru who is very keen on fighting back, you know? He wants to save everyone. He's got a goal, even though like his view of himself is very bad, and we'll talk about this later, but even though, you know, he hates himself, he loves everyone else. So he wants to save them and make, you know, the best future possible for everyone. So he's kind of like, you know, when you play a video game and you start the game and you have a lot of motivation to push through and go through the hardest bosses. After a while, if you're playing on, I don't know, like Crysis, Ultra Hard or something, and you can't defeat that one boss and it takes you so long, you rage quit. You know, maybe that's what happened to Beatrice. She quit. Whereas he's still in the early stages of, I'm gonna defeat this thing, you know, he keeps fighting because it's not new to him, and he's been in a place before where he just wanted to give up, but he's found motivation where she never found any. She had one motivation, the person who was supposed to come in and deliver her, but then that person never showed up, so she gave up. That's very fucking sad. And Subaru cannot understand the state of mind because he's not there yet. I hope he never gets there, honestly. But Beatrice, like, to hear her talk about herself like she's a failure because she never did anything with her life, you know, to hear her talk about how she doesn't have anything to fight for, she doesn't have hope of being freed anymore. Like, even if the guy that may be the one who's supposed to free her showed up, she still doesn't, you know, feel joy or hope or anything because after so long, what if, like, she doesn't want to be disappointed anymore, so she's not even giving him a chance to be the one that saves her. a very miserable existence. And I don't see how, I mean, Subaru is very good at saving people in a way. Like, he did that with Rem before, and Beatrice has a connection with him. I know that she offered him, like, one of two choices, but none of them are a possibility, unfortunately. Like, I don't think he can put her above Emilia. Like,
above Rem, yeah.
It did remind me of Rem, giving that speech in the first season about how she loved Subaru, but, Rem and Beatrice, in a way, also is the same. Like, Rem understood that Subaru had someone else that he was going to put forward, at first, and Rem just accepted that she was going to be second, and it was okay. Like, she said everything she had to say, and then she was fine with living as the second choice, As long as Subaru was happy, she was going to be happy. But Beatrice is not even, capable of that. She's got nothing. Like, she can't just be happy to exist with Subaru around if he doesn't put her first, because she's been forgotten and pushed to the side so much, I think, that if she's not put first and freed from her contract with Echidna, and if she can't be given an opportunity to live life at its fullest, she won't be able to enjoy the little things like Rem is doing. So it's very sad. But Subaru can't put her first. Like, I don't think he can lie to her that way, and you can't fake love. You can't fake any of these feelings, and it's not like Subaru doesn't like her or anything, but he's not like, he's already got a number 1 and 2.
Can have a third. But
anyway,
it is really sad though, because there are so many fantasy about immortality and not dying. People love the idea to be immortal and just live through the ages, but
unless you've seen an interview with a vampire,
I guess living when you cannot die is
being immortal is not boring, but it gets long after a while.
It gets long, and you I think that's...
We say that as if we are immortal and we've known it.
But I'm pretty sure that after a certain time, you feel tired about your own existence because you can do nothing about it.
And I mean, I don't even know if it's not just that with Beatrice, it's also the fact that, like, Puck is also a spirit. There are spirits around who also live forever, but
Puck
got
has
Emilia.
a goal. He has Emilia, and he got a goal, protect Emilia.
That's the thing.
Beatrice has nothing, just wait inside a library until someone shows up.
Being immortal, when you've got someone to care about and someone to protect, or, a purpose in life, is one thing. Being immortal when you've got no one you connect with and you live alone, that's another deal. Unfortunately, that's the deal she got. She needs to realize that the book doesn't, Roswaal also has to realize this in a way, but the book exists. I don't know who wrote that book. I don't know how that book exists. But that book knows everything about Subaru going back in time and stuff, and then, like, that book just is the script to ReZero. But since these characters in this universe have, they have the right to create their own future, following the book means giving up your free will and your choices.
Do you think that maybe the book has all of the timeline that Subaru did?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I just assumed that that's how Roswaal, because Roswaal is intelligent, and Roswaal could have pieced it together by how Subaru reacts, because that's one thing. Every time he dies and comes back, he doesn't, he's not careful with what he says and how he reacts to stuff. Even Otto realized that the way he reacted to some stuff wasn't normal. So Roswaal could have pieced it together, but if the book mentioned that Subaru, was gonna come back, that would make a lot of sense. But even if it didn't, like, he just pieced it together by how he reacted. Like, that made sense what he said. So I don't know if the book knows everything, but to do everything according to a book is not a way to live. Where's the free will? Where's the where's your sense of choice? And that's one of the downfalls are of Beatrice, because now that the book is empty and she's got nothing, in the future for her, she just gave up. Like, she assumed that there was nothing else for her. Like, she could have maybe... She did have, make that vow, which in my opinion is bullshit, because, like, see how making vows screwed up with so many characters in this show? But still. I'm guessing it's a magical thing, and you can't actually break that vow, but still. If she had decided her own fate, maybe she could have gotten out of the library. Maybe she could have met someone before. Maybe the person that can free herself is herself, not just Subaru. Maybe Subaru's job is to make her realize that she can take charge and do things. Like, he called her out on it. Like, I know that there was nothing in the book, but since life didn't end for her, Subaru still showed up, and Subaru still, managed to make a connection with Beatrice and stuff. That might be proof enough that the book doesn't know everything and doesn't state everything, so you can still have a life despite the book. She has emotions and she has a connection with Subaru. She saved him twice at the end, So this wasn't in the book.
Nope.
There you go. So we might still be able to talk some sense into Beatrice, but still, she could maybe help with Elsa, but that thing she did coming back,
can die.
I don't know. She didn't have her cape or anything when she came back, but it's still her. So I don't know how she did that. But
do you think that we gonna need to kill her just like the deadly sins and Fullmetal Alchemist, like over and over again?
Maybe kind of like the whale. Also, like maybe there's more to her than we know. I don't know. Elsa is a mystery. She's badass as fuck, but she's creepy. The biggest shock to me was the little girl whose name I forgot.
Well, I remember that we thought that she was suspicious.
She was suspicious. We forgot about her completely after, but there was this thing about, like, she was the one that was taken, but the mob beast got in and stuff. Like, this whole situation, we need to go back and watch it again. Because now we get to see all the little signs, but we did think she was suspicious, right? I don't remember.
Yeah, because she was the owner of the dog, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah. And I mean, they had to have someone, open the barrier and stuff. If she's been in the village this whole time, she could have played, behind the scenes, and she could have manipulated people. It's just so creepy to have a kid be an assassin like this.
Yeah.
Fuck! Like, I was just in shock. Like, there was absolutely no reaction. I was just like, what? So that's crazy. And what do we do with her? Like, Subaru doesn't want to kill a kid, but, like, this girl is... I mean, I wouldn't say she's a kid at this point.
What she's doing... Well, it is really that you can try to learn from who she's working for. If she's willing to talk.
But she's not going to say anything.
That's the problem. If not...
I didn't like... That was her... Okay, I didn't... Okay, forgot. I thought that maybe we could have recognized the name, but I'm like, no, we forgot her name anyway, and it's not the same name that she's using, so forget about that. But still, it was a shock. Oh, God. Emilia.
At first, we thought that she might have been Satella.
Well, yeah, with the weird purple thing in her eye, like, that's what I assumed.
Yeah, but I think that she's just really, really, really lost.
Well, the way they explained it is that when the snow started to fall, which, by the way, confuses me a little bit, because Roswaal has been saying, like, confusing stuff. Like, he's been saying that his goal was to get Emilia to be accepted by the villagers.
Unless it wasn't his goal.
But that's the thing. And now he just said that that's not his goal. That his goal here was to get her to...
His goal?
I don't know. Like, is he really doing stuff? He's got one wish in life. I wonder what it is. Maybe that's going to explain everything. But at the very least, we need to know that to understand Roswaal's character. I don't think he is an enemy. I think he truly believes that what he does is for the better good. But for his goal. He's doing it for his goal. I don't think he's an enemy. Not the way he treats Subaru and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, like, he knew everything. He killed Rem and Garfield, but he had a reason for it. I think he's just very intellectual with his choices. He does what needs to be done in order to get to get his wish granted. And he did say to Subaru, to become me, to catch up to me, you need to get rid of everything but the one thing that you care about the most. So he does have feelings, but not for anything other than that one thing, which makes him a robot in a way. Like, he doesn't react on his, on his emotions or anything. He does things because they need to be done, no matter who gets killed or hurt.
I wouldn't say that it makes him a robot per se, but maybe just more someone willing to do immoral stuff to achieve his goal.
Well, he stripped himself of emotions. That's what I mean by he's kind of like a robot, But if we learn what the wish is, we will know a lot more about Roswaal. But I don't think he's an enemy. I think he's just Kind of like with Garfield, you know, Garfield isn't an enemy either, but he's the contrary to Roswaal. He follows his emotions way too much, you know?
Yeah, both of them are unpredictable.
Yeah, but anyway, the way Roswaal explained, you know, what happened to Emilia, he made the snow fall. People thought she was doing it. People cast her out, you know, cast her aside. She was in a temple. She was rejected again, and I think it was too much for her. It got to the point where it was too much, and she was influenced by the witch in there, so she just lost herself completely and fell back on this one guy who never, you know,
never gave up on her.
But weirdly enough, if that was just Emilia in there, that means that when Emilia loses it, she reminds us of Satella, which is not a good thing.
No, indeed.
And actually, that makes me wonder if it was really Satella, you know, or Emilia back in the other timeline when he got out and the shadow was everywhere. We thought it was Satella, but I think it was still Emilia's body. You kept saying in the reaction it wasn't her, but then I'm just saying that in this it was Emilia, but it looked like Satella. So I think it's maybe when Emilia, you know, we talked about this in the comments a little bit, but people talked about this in the comments.
Well,
but
I've seen one comment. I don't know if it's supposed to be a.
Well, don't talk about it then, because I think I didn't read it. If there's a spoiler in it, I didn't read it. But one thing I know and when we know from season 1, and you guys reminded us, Satella is sealed away, so her body is sealed away. Can she still get out of there? Like, can her consciousness get out of there? Is Emilia kind of a doorway for Satella to get out of there and possess her or something? Or has she been freed? Like, we know there's a connection between Emilia and Satella. Because, I mean, coincidences in the show don't happen. There's a connection. I think Satella might have overtaken Emilia's body in the other timeline. And I think that the more Emilia loses herself, the more she connects to the witch. And maybe that's why her eyes were like this in this timeline. When she basically just gave up. Which means that it's one thing that doesn't need to happen and cannot happen ever, but...
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I said the first time when we saw Satella / Emilia with the shadows attacking everyone, that maybe since Emilia's mind was broken, Satella took over her body.
Well, I said it was Emilia and you agreed, but then when we saw her in the shadows, you said that her bangs were not the same.
I never said that.
Yeah, you said that. I edited it.
I've never said that.
You said that her hair was different, so it wasn't Satella.
Well,
it wasn't Emilia, it was Satella.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Just because I thought, like, the butterfly on her head, I thought it was, like, somewhere else or anything. I got confused and I was like, well, okay. But then I kept watching it over and over again. I'm like, well, no, I mean, it's the same hairstyle, so I think it was Emilia's body. In any case, whether or not it was...
But I think that there might be a chance that, indeed, Satella's spirit is connected to Emilia. And like you said, the more she gets lost, the more her mind is weak and broken, the more it's easy for Satella to take over and...
I got the craziest idea. Her body is sealed, right? Her body is sealed. Because what if they just sealed her? You know, she looks like her. She's the spitting image of Satella. That would have been a crazy thing if they sealed only her consciousness and left the body, and the body was Emilia. Like, it's the same girl, it's just... it's an idea that popped in my head, like, that would have been a crazy thing. I hope it's not true, but... Because I think they sealed the body, it's not the same girl. But, that would have been crazy.
When did they seal the body, then?
Like, 400 years ago.
400 years ago, because the kidnap was still alive.
Yeah, years ago.
So,
but Emilia's a half-elf, like, can she be that old? We don't know. Yeah. I'm just, like, it's just a crazy thought that came to my mind. It would have been interesting, but if it's not what's happening, something even more interesting is going to happen. In any case, Roswaal is confusing me even more. Weirdly enough, in the episode where he actually does some stuff that makes me say, like, oh, well, good thing we didn't trust him, I just started thinking that he might not be a bad guy. You know, when he does nothing, I'm like, I don't trust him, I think he's a bad guy, and then when he actually does something, I'm like, well... Maybe he's not. I don't know. I think Roswaal is much more complicated than just him be mean, you know. He said it himself, kind of like you said with Satella. There's something else behind the character. We just need to know what that is to explain his.
The thing is, with Roswaal, I'm pretty sure that even though we know what his goal is and what he wants to do, we will still be confused about it.
Well, yeah, because like I said, last time we talked about helping Emilia, he was saying that, you know, everything he did with the Witch's Gold and everything he did in season 1 was so that Emilia could do stuff with Subaru and they both would get revered by the village. And then in this episode he says that he wants, you know, to separate Emilia from everyone. So I'm like, dude, choose your path, like do something. Anyway, we're gonna end this here and move on. We're watching another episode today, so hopefully much more stuff happens that explain, you know,
much more confusing.
I don't think we will get answers about Roswaal right away, but
we will never get answers from Roswaal.
Maybe not this season at all.
Never.
In any case, but that was crazy disturbing as an episode.
I don't want to see her like that again.
Me neither.
So
especially the way they did it in the end. Like it was like a horror movie. It reminded me of Scream.
Subaru.
Was it?
I don't want you to have
Fear.
feelings for anybody else, but I won't like you if you don't. So, so selfish. That's just creepy.
No, but the way the director, like, you know, or the animator, I don't know how. Anyway, the way it was done, you know, the shaky image and the black and white and the music reminded me of Fear, the video game.
Yeah, I know.
So much. It was creepy as fuck. Anyway. Hopefully you enjoyed the reaction. If you want to see the next episode right away, it is on Patreon already, or it will be very soon. You can check it out if you want. The link is in the description.
And if you don't, you can wait for the next one to be out on YouTube, which will be next week. So we're gonna see you then, guys.
Bye!